I've made it out the training phase on my Darwinex Zero account and I'm now participating in DarwinIA Silver. I started my Darwin on September 5th and I completed the training phase on February 2nd, so it took me quite a while to get the 20 trade minimum with my swing trading strategy. I've decided to hide the ticker temporarily while I focus on prop firms because I don't want any investors copying my trades onto their prop firm challenges. So my experience so far with Darwinex has been positive. I don't have any complaints. The spreads are good, better than most prop firms to be honest. The UI is friendly, the support is fast if you have any questions, and the trade execution is very fast, which is what's the most important. One tip I have to share with you is to use quite a small risk percentage, and this is because their risk engine automatically bumps up your stats later to compensate when they're comparing your Darwin against other Darwins. And because they only have 1 to 30 leverage, it was previously 1 to 10, but they adjusted this. Because they only have 1 to 30 leverage, you may as well be using a smaller risk per trade than a larger risk per trade, because it means that you can have more open trades at any given time. So if there's anyone using 1% risk per trade, I think you can only have 3 trades open at any given time on with the 1 to 30 leverage, whereas I'm using 0.2% risk per trade, so I can have a lot of trades open at any given time. So with many prop firms losing their MetaTrader license, Darwinex have decided to capitalize on this, and they're running a deal where you can sign up for 10 euros instead of 95 euros. So that's over 90% off. I don't foresee them running a generous deal like this again in the future, so I suggest you make the most of it. I'll put a link in the description. I think it's going until the end of February. So I'll go through some of the stats. To be honest, it hasn't been a great trading period for me. I think November was break even, December was losing, January was break even, and currently February is break even as well. So I got all my returns basically from this 1 month, which was in October, and since then it's just been hovering around where I started, to be honest. You can see I'm currently ranked pretty well though, which tells me that a lot of traders still don't do great. I'm ranked 1,800 out of 6,000 Darwins competing in DarwinIA Silver. There's an interesting, here we go. So if you look at my return per month, again, this has been adjusted, so not considering that I'm doing 1% risk per trade, I don't know what this risk is per trade, maybe 0.5% risk per trade I'm judging from this, because I made about 12%, 15% in October, and I think December was about -4%, so I'm assuming that this is about 0.5% risk. So honestly, looking at it here, these stats aren't bad. It's just the drawdowns that are a bit heavy, looking at these max drawdowns, but they actually have interesting stats way down here about that, so we'll get to that in a minute. This rating calculator over here on the right is really useful. So assuming that I am right, it's about 0.5% risk per trade. Let's say I make 5% this month, so that would be about 2.5 on here. Okay, so I wouldn't quite be making DarwinIA Silver. That's surprising though, only 785. So if I increase this a touch more, how many people have actually got a rating over 75? Only 640. So yeah, about 10% of traders actually meet Darwinex Zero's criteria and get into DarwinIA Silver. So that's really interesting. If you end this month with this rating, you'll be in the top 700. Okay, interesting. So about top 10% of traders are consistently profitable then, I suppose. With a rating of 75, that's how I would get 30,000 euro seed allocation. Of course, if I did better, so let's say I made about maybe 10% this month, assuming again that they're doing about 0.5% risk per trade. Yeah, the seed allocation doesn't change much. Even though you're much higher up, you're in the top 5% at this point. Let's put it way up. Let's see what happens. Okay, so as your rating increases, I guess only the top 100 really get impacted by improved seed allocation. Yeah. So the people who are getting hundreds of thousands in seed allocation, they are rated at the top. There's also a bit here about reaching Darwin Gold. Here you go. So to participate in DarwinIA Gold, where you get higher seed allocation, I think you need to have made at least a 20% return. So I suppose for me, that means I need to have made at least a 40% return, assuming again that this is about 0.5% risk. And the return to drawdown ratio needs to be much better. So mine ain't so good. At the moment, I am in a bit of drawdown, but I'm working on it. I'm working on some new entries. It's very exciting. I'm very happy with how trading's going. Looking at the return distribution, so what does this portray? So the return distribution basically just shows how many trades, how many days I had. Okay, so I guess some people are taking a lot of trades per day. So I had 13 days where I made a return between negative 0.34 and negative 0.68. I had one day where I had a big loss. I must have taken several trades on that day. Okay, interesting. And then I've also had days where I've made over 3%, which is pretty cool. That makes sense. Weekly distribution. So this is the same, but by week, I guess. This looks much better. I guess this makes more sense for me to look at as a swing trader. You can see the distribution is skewed a lot more to the right, because on a higher time frame, generally you'll get more accurate results. So it looks like about 44% of my days are winning. Same with the weeks, about 44% of my weeks are winning. Interesting. So here you can see the best and worst moments. That's pretty cool. So I can see my highest performing days and my worst performing days. So something went wrong in November by the looks of it. I took at least 2 or 3 trades. That's fair enough. Some pairs all set up at the same time, you know. Best weeks, best months. Very cool. Well, looking at it on this basis, this account doesn't look so bad, because I haven't been very happy with my performance in the last few months, but that's trading. It's been quiet. So this is cool, the drawdown analysis. So you can see all sorts of different drawdowns and it'll highlight it for you here on the right. So I'm currently climbing out of some drawdown by the look of it. This is the worst drawdown period. There weren't many winners in this time, so this is where I failed my prop firm challenges with this drawdown, and frustratingly they just rebounded. Like literally this low was where I failed the prop firm challenges, and since then it's just been going up. So that's quite funny. There's some other stats here which is cool. So the assets and time frames, let's see what this does. Okay, so I think it shows the pairs that I'm trading. So yeah, I only trade Forex. I've taken 42 trades, only a 30% win rate recently, but still making profit, which is nice. So this trading time distribution shows all of the sessions that I'm trading, and it makes sense that 50% of my trades were in the European session because I'm based out of Europe. I like this. So this is where those trades were. It would be good if it showed my return like this. I'm sure it will later on, but you can see a lot of my trades were around London Open. Makes sense. And as well, this isn't something that I pay attention to whatsoever with my strategy. If a setup forms, I take it no matter what time of day it is. So it's quite interesting to see that a lot of the setups kind of form ready for a specific session. But yeah, around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Very cool. I like that. So my return by day of the week. So it looks like Thursday is my highest return. Oh no, that's just the number of trading days. So Wednesday has my highest return by the looks of it, I think. Yeah, and Thursday has my worst performance so far, which is interesting. So here's an analysis of my strategy. So my average winning trade is 1.5%. So I have a 1.3 profit factor, which is good. Anything above 1 is profitable, I think, or it might be anything above 0. I'm not certain. But they say a profit factor of 2 or higher is excellent. So I guess I'm not far off. I do have a very high, my winners are much larger than my losses, which is why my win rate is not so good. My average losing trade, I only hold it for 2 hours. Average winning trade, I hold it for 15 hours. Average losing trade is tiny. Average winning trade is much bigger. That's fantastic. Love to see it. So I guess this is kind of like the duration versus profit. So yeah, I let my winners run, cut my losses short, to be expected. Okay, so this is interesting. This is how well I let my trades run, I guess. So for example here, there was a GU trade, and the highest it went was 3.37 and I closed at 2.82. So that shows that I let the trade run. Whereas there are some trades where I've let it run and I've not locked in anything. So that could be something I look into. Closing my trades, not closing my trades, moving my stop loss to break even when it runs into a certain amount of profit. Looking at these, when they run into about 0.5%, 1% profit, might be worth moving my stop loss to break even if I haven't already reduced my risk. That's something cool to consider. So there's some of the stats. I hope you enjoyed me going through those. So my main objective with Darwinex moving forward is to get some seed allocation, of course. I'm aiming for that 75 rating, but I'm being patient. I'm not pushing any trades. I'm just letting it run in the background. It's been a slow period for my strategy, so there's really no rush. I'm in no rush to make loads of money, you know. But I'm hoping the next few months will give me some more opportunities. So yeah, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a comment and a like and subscribe for the next video. Thank you for watching.